If you have a dog who is chewing on your hands when you touch them, you pet them, nips at you, a lot of times it's little puppies that do that. What you want to do, there's a couple ways to deal with it, is if it's a chewing issue, you can open the dog's mouth after they've done it, stick your hand in the mouth, hold the back of their head, and force your hand back into their mouth like this until they are gagging to get it out of there. And that you do that firmly enough and you hold it there for 10 or 15 seconds so the dog is very uncomfortable with that. And then you put your hands right back in, you start to pet the dog again the way you were doing it before. You're showing the dog there's nothing wrong with the praise that you were giving them. The problem was when they attempted to chew on you. So if they chew again, open the mouth up, shove the hand in there. And you may want to do this. If you're doing this with a puppy, you might want to have gloves on at the time because puppies' teeth can be razor sharp. Another way to deal with this is with your puppy or your dog that you've just got, have your training collar on and your line on so you can always get a hold of them so they cannot walk away. If the dog nips or grabs at your hand, you can immediately just give them a quick cuff in the snout right as soon as they do it. So I might be petting, the dog grabs me, just give a bit of cuff, and then I go back to praising the dog and show them that my hands are not a problem. But the problem is the second they nip me, in a sense, I'm nipping them back with a bit of a cuff in the snout. And most dogs will stop chewing on you, will stop nipping on you within a minute to 2 minutes if you've done your corrections appropriately at the level of firmness for that particular dog. It's important to have our training collar and our line on the dog when we start doing this with the dog so that they can never get away from us. Many people have said, oh, I did give the dog a bit of a cuff in the nose, or I tried to grab it and it started to jump around and bark more aggressively at me. Well, that will only happen if the dog feels it can get away with that. If you've got a training line on the dog and you make a correction and the dog starts to challenge you simply because the dog feels it's this dominant and your corrections are becoming more increasingly firm, it feels challenged, and they start to up the ante and to try to drive you back down into a place of submission, you must have some way to get a hold of the dog to correct them, firmly snap them for threatening you when you discipline them. And if you do this again, like I said, properly, in 2 minutes, on average, you will have a pup that you can pet without any nipping. And this is for children as well. Get the kids involved in this because they are an easy target for most dogs or puppies to chew all over. Do not make your children or teach your children to be submissive to the dog. Teach your children that firm corrections are acceptable to protect and show respect for their body space. We should not be abused by our dogs, letting them climb all over us, chew on us, and so forth, especially the children. We want to show the pups and the dogs that right away the children have the right to be the ruler in that relationship.